Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of What the Haul. I just came home and we're gonna have a little recap of the Met. Without further ado, bum 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 bum. Welcome to What the Haul. I'm Mohammed. This is my channel. 99% of the time, we're going to talk about skincare, beauty, things of that nature. From time to time, I like to interject a little What the Haul sidebar. The Met happened last week. This video was recorded not once, not twice. This is now thrice. I had a little nervous breakdown. First, how are you? Excellent. Amazing. Love to hear it. Since Covina, because that year in particular, it felt very out of touch for them to even have the event. Particularly this year, life feels very heavy. We just had an election in Canada. We can feel the weight of the world, but we can still enjoy frivolous, inconsequential things like the Met, I guess. Two resources to kind of familiarize yourself with it and to have a greater depth of understanding. One, there is a documentary, The First Monday in May. It's filmed with, I think his name is Bolton. He's Tom Brown's partner. He's like the curator of the fashion wing of the Met. I think it's the year leading up to when Rihanna had that moment, you know, when she was wearing that yellow gown. If you don't want to watch anything, there is the podcast Vogue in the 90s. I've talked about this before. One of my favorites. There's two series. It's presented by Hamish Bowles. And I think the Met, the way we know it, started in 95. Prior to that, it was closed off. It really wasn't for the celebrities. It was just for the highfalutin, you know, ultra rich people in that circle. Black dandyism, black tailoring is like the top line. That's the theme for this year's exhibition. When I heard that topic, it went to Harlem Renaissance and the Congo, because in the Congo, there is like this subculture of men, and I'm sure it's in lots of places in the continent, people who repurpose and create this incredible, vibrant tailoring. Solange Losing You. There's also a book, and I can't remember the name of the book or the author. That's another place to start if you're looking for more context, more resources, etc. There's a Vogue magazine spread with 3 cover stars: A$AP Rocky, Lewis Hamilton, and Coleman Domingo. There's a photo of Coleman where he's wearing like almost like a matador type thing. Think MJ, cavalry, marching band meets matador type vibe. Lewis and A$AP, everyone looked amazing throughout it. And there was one image of Solange's son, Jules, and Iman Hammam. They look so incredible. I love that photo. It just, when you see people who look like you or like members of your family and you're just like, wow, you just love to see it, right? I was trying to avoid the whole Met discourse and avoid all the content on the day of, but then my friend messaged me, and very much like 2020, we were watching it together and texting back and forth. So I'm gonna start with this. This is what I'm using currently to wash my face. Okay, I just have to kind of shift things around. So I'm assessing this with the most superficial lens. I'm not a fashion person. Like, you know, this is not my trade. I don't have like an intimate knowledge about tailoring or fabrications and things like that. I just grew up watching fashion television and Fashion Fob with Tim Blanks. I think people who have very good, like sort of fashion reviews, the Fashion Roadman on YouTube. And then on TikTok, I follow one lady, she's called Mandy, and I think she works for Tory Burch. And there's another lady I found recently called Chani. A couple weeks back, she put up something saying that they're bringing back Christian Lacroix. Immediately followed. Lots of people up. It's not the most difficult or most challenging brief to follow, right? Again, Harlem Renaissance, zoot suits, maybe pimp culture from like the 70s, work with black designers. There's so many ways that they could have got this right. When I was watching it, I was skipping through the interviews. I don't care what these people think. I just want to know what they're wearing. That's it. I'm getting content now and I'm looking back, especially that interview with MJB and Stella McCartney. So I'm gonna do men's, women's, and honorable mentions. For the men's, this would have been my best dress. The first one that came to mind is Damson Idris. The way he came in that racing outfit, when he disrobed and you saw the suit, so good. The helmet, the gloves, the color, plaid on the one side, solid on the other, that shade of red, everything about it just impeccable. I was surprised that it was Hilfiger, but he does typically make looks for this event. When Hilfiger and his wife came on, she was wearing, or she had a clutch with the Hilfiger logo that was bejeweled. I love that. I just love that Hilfiger logo. It's very nostalgic. It takes me back to like middle school, high school times. This isn't in a specific order, but Damson is definitely in my top 5. Next up that comes to mind is Pusha T. Pusha T, he does wear a suit really well. When they style him, I remember seeing a video of him and his brother, what happened to that boy, at Paris Fashion Week with Vogue when they were getting ready for this year's Vuitton show. And you know, when they style him, he always looks really nice. And that suit, again, the color, the cut, the shape, the fact that I guess it was like sequins or diamantes, the way it kind of cascades down the shoulder, over the lapel, all of it. Louis is next up because one, he was wearing a black designer. He was wearing Grace Wells Bonner. Love Grace Wells Bonner. Louis did buy a table for the event. I like the color palette. I like the fact that he had a beret. The little accents, they look like pearls. In the interview, he did say that that was supposed to represent ivory, so going back to the continent. J Balvin is in my next one because I love his suit. That color, it just was perfect for his complexion. You know, it's just the right shade of pink. I love the fact that it had that satin piping around the suit. He was wearing the same hat that Tracy Ellis was, so that's a hat by Stephen Jones, the famous milliner. And then of course, my best dress has to be Coleman. So when he comes out, he's got the cape on in reference to Andre Leon Talley. And then when he disrobes and you see that incredible suit, the textures, the pussy bow, he really nails it every time. And even more so than the suit, it's just the little details, like the fact that he had this jewelry, this cuff on his ear, around his ear. And so he was wearing Michele's Valentino. Opinions aren't facts. These are just the quick fire, the looks that come to my mind that I think were absolutely phenomenal. I was like, this person is hitting the brief and they look amazing. So first woman that comes to mind is Hunter Schafer. When she was in the lineup, I wasn't feeling it so much. Or once the jacket came off and you saw the full suits, everything, I thought she looked amazing. I love that tailoring. The proportions were interesting. When I saw her, I thought maybe Mugler might be working with her. I mean, she is one of their faces for the fragrance adverts. But then I remember, yes, she's still working for Prada, so it makes sense that Prada made that suit for her. Just beautiful suiting. Next woman that comes to mind is Taraji. I'll pop up an image and we'll connect the dots that way, but Taraji really killed it. At first glance, it looks a little bit dull, but when you think about who she's referencing, she was doing the bare leg thing, but it wasn't as excessive as like Lisa, Helen, Pharrell's wife, or Sabrina Carpenter. It looked perfect on her. Venus Williams. Venus really wowed me. I didn't like her shoes. That color was really stressful. When I say stress, I mean like the good kind of stress. Like an emerald with a hint of blue happening. It was like the most rich, decadent. Oh, I love that color so much. And with the robe, you're thinking Andre Leon, right? And she's wearing a kilt, right? So you're thinking to yourself, why is she wearing like a tennis uniform underneath? I don't know if he was like a sporty person, but there are lots of images of him wearing tennis attire. Maybe he went to Wimbledon with Anna. There is something about Andre's life that actually aligns with that as well. I'm confident. Yeah, Venus just looked great. I like the fact that the way they did her hair, just it was the color and that cape more than anything. And I'm surprised that Lacoste was able to pull off such an exquisite look. I'm going to close out with the two best dressed women. We want to say Lauren, we want to say Tiana Taylor, but I've got two better for you. FKA Twigs. When I saw FKA, like honestly, I was like, wow. Again, I thought she was wearing Prada because it's that sort of the color palette and the marabou feathers. That's where my mind went. But no, she was wearing Grace Wells. So again, she's wearing Black British designer. The proportions were right. Even the way her shoes matched the look, everything was just perfection. And when you looked close at it and you saw some of the details, it was like the border with the diamantes or the sequins. The fact that like there's like this scalloping detailed with like a gradation. It's so impactful. I just love the way they put her outfit together. I think she really killed it. My best dressed woman has to be Ugbad. I love Ugbad. Ugbad is one of those people that on Instagram, you saw her make her debuts at like the Valentino couture shows at least 5 or 6 years ago. And every time you saw her, she was like beautiful and so delicate. When you saw her on the carpet and you see her just kind of flinging that coat behind her, she looked really strong. A vision, right? That's what they say. They say a vision. I wish they did something different with the feathers, but that one issue aside, the print, the length, everything about that was just stunning. I loved it. Who else? Yes, let's do some of these honorable mentions. Amongst all the other Vuitton people, we had Doechii, I really was disappointed with her because if you were on TikTok, on Instagram during Paris Fashion Week, she killed it. She shut down when she came to Chloe barefoot. The two looks that she had when she was at Schiaparelli, I had real high hopes. Leading up to the night, she was posting content on TikTok, and I was seeing there was an image of her where she was copying or redoing a famous image of Andre Leon with all of his Vuitton tennis accessories. She was kind of teasing this new single that she has with West Side Gun. I don't know who he is. Wow, he sounds like the Chef Raekwon. The song sounds like it's straight out of the 90s, but of course it's 2025, so it's like 2 minutes long. When she was doing the teasers, you saw her in this Vuitton two-piece, but she basically redid that look. Different hair, different print, the monogram jacket and the damier shorts. I wasn't feeling the shorts. I'm sure lots of people had that take. I like the hair, like the makeup. Also, the Vuitton style, I think, was to signal to us about the Vuitton makeup that's going to be coming out. Basically, all the Vuitton people, it felt like a marketing exercise because with Lisa, I don't believe the whole Rosa Parks on her Kitty Cat thing, but Lisa was carrying, a speedy bag. His wife, Helen, she was carrying this incredible teddy bear speedy bag. But her look was pretty stale. It really didn't feel like they were too invested in the night's theme. Andrew Scott is another one of my honorable mentions. He was wearing a brand called Giuliani Heritage. I can't remember what it's called. It's a new brand to me, but apparently they had a collaboration with H&M in 2020. It's sold on net. They make men's, they make women's. It looks very cool. It looks very much like Brunello Cucinelli, Zegna. What I liked about his suit, the color palette, the contrast, it wasn't right for him just because it was so vibrant that it made him look extra pasty. A-Keys and Swizzy. And then I'm gonna close out with my last honorable mention, Miley Cyrus. My eyes just like popped out of my head. So she's wearing like this Alaïa cutout and then those Cartier rope necklaces. It's just the totality of it, the makeup, the hair, the fact that she has a racehorse smile. I don't wanna know what she thinks. She is so stylish. If you made it to the end of this video, thumbs up, share, subscribe, do all the things. Thank you for listening. Thank me for speaking, and I will catch you in the next one. Adios.